I want to use the example of something that I am personally involved in, working with the Bangladeshi government, and they have an initiative called Digital Bangladesh. And what is Digital Bangladesh? Well, the government realized quite a number of years ago that they couldn't continue to rely on garment exports as their mainstay for generating inbound payments into their country. And so what did they do? They came up with this idea of Digital Bangladesh, and the concept of Digital Bangladesh has the broad objective of enabling the right infrastructure for people to have access to technology. So laying of broadband cables into remote villages, and also creating an environment for people to be able to access educational content that would skill them up to become relevant in the world that we live in today. And what is the result? Today, Bangladesh is one of the top 3 suppliers of remote IT workers to the rest of the world. And they actually have a registry of over 650,000 IT freelancers who are generating an average of $100 million per annum from the rest of the world. So next to the United States and India, Bangladesh is the 3rd supplier of remote software developers on websites like Upwork and a few other remote freelancer sites, and they're generating good money without having to leave the country. So why is this a useful case study for us? Well, the truth is it flips the script, because now you have a situation where the people living in this country who would typically have been dependent on their family and friends abroad for charitable money are now being equipped to be able to earn income from outside the country without leaving the country themselves. And that in itself is game changing, because you have then gone from people who are roaming the streets to them being able to stay at home, having access to the internet, having the skills that allows them to be able to do things like user design, software development, website development. They're going into things like data entry for artificial intelligence. And the more they do these things, the better they become skilled. And what usually happens is over time, a few of these, the natives of these countries end up in top positions in a couple of the big organizations, or they even create their own multinational big corporations themselves. A classic example is if you look at Google, the CEO of Google today is originally from India, and if you also look at places like Eastern Europe, those countries like Bulgaria, like Armenia, they're using IT as the bedrock of creating the skills that they can sell to the rest of the world without those people having to leave the country. And that ability to generate that kind of income, we can only imagine what it will mean in terms of tax revenue for the government. So this is something that I think a lot of countries could study and look at. Now let's come back home. What are the opportunities in sub-Saharan Africa? I thought of it, and this is something that I'm passionate about. Content is probably one of the biggest opportunities that sub-Saharan Africa can create and use to generate income for the rest of the world. And a classic example for me, I'm sure a lot of people know Mark Angel. Mark Angel is a YouTuber who is based in Port Harcourt. He has his YouTube channel today that he has grown over time. Right now, Mark Angel has about 7.5 million subscribers on YouTube. And the estimates are he generates $300,000 from YouTube ad revenue alone. Imagine that, $300,000 a month from just YouTube, not to talk about all the other endorsements that he gets. So content is a significant opportunity that is being harnessed today in Nigeria and a few other countries. And that is something that can really, really become a huge game changer for sub-Saharan Africa to generate wealth from the rest of the world. Of course, remote IT is also another opportunity, but I think unfortunately, we still have a gap in how Africa and its ability to provide skills for the rest of the world is perceived, not only in Africa, but also by the rest of the world. A lot of people, for example, would prefer, even in Nigeria or in Ghana and all these other places, would prefer to go and pay for a developer to come from India or Poland or Romania than to source local development. Not because those skills are not there, but the enabling environment is something that still needs to be worked on. And that is something that, even with good intentions, would still hinder the value that can be derived from tapping into the local skills that are there. So for me, flipping the script from people going and making that money and sending back home to enabling people to be able to develop themselves and get the skills that they can then sell remotely to the rest of the world is a huge opportunity, COVID irrespective, for money to come back in a sustainable manner. So the personal challenge, what can you do? What can I do? The Italian proverb, we all know this: give a man a fish and you will feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish and you will feed him for his lifetime. What does that mean? Each one of us, we owe ourselves the challenge of unlearning and relearning to be able to better position ourselves for the world that we live into. All too often you hear people using the excuse, oh, I'm too old to learn. Well, COVID has taught us that you can get on Zoom. COVID has taught us that you can make WhatsApp calls and video calls. COVID has taught us so many of these things that a lot of us would not have imagined we would be able to do. We think about those who are religious. During COVID and even till now, you find a lot of religious services are happening on Facebook, on Zoom, on Microsoft Teams, and other channels on YouTube. A lot of these people who would have used that excuse, oh, I'm not used to technology, because of their strong adherence to religion, they were able to surmount that challenge. A lot of our older ones have tablets and are subscribing to data packages that allow them to get on these things so that they can be spiritually edified. So if you can do that for your spiritual edification, why can't you do that for your commercial gain as well? There are so many opportunities out there, and nobody is too young to take on these opportunities. And for those of us in diaspora, there's also an opportunity to invest in helping others in our home countries to develop the skills that will make them better positions to earn for themselves. And that's the point of teaching them how to fish. An opportunity to earn for themselves in this new world of content creation and IT development. And I think this is where we need to start working to migrate that position of dependency on the family and friend who is out there to send, because it's not easy for them, to them being able to also get out there, even without leaving the home country, to tap into the market and see what they can get for themselves. So that's the end of my presentation. I hope it was useful. Happy to take questions.